Hi from CPA's head office. I am Karen Cohen, the CEO of the Canadian Psychological Association. There's been a lot of communication lately from CPA about renewal of the profession's liability insurance program. Renewals are due June 1st, and there have been some important changes in 2014. CPA and the Council of Professional Associations of Psychologists, or CPAP, have sponsored a liability insurance program for decades. This is the program which has insured most psychologists in Canada. For many years, the program was brokered by McFarland Rowlands. In 2014, after a thorough process of investigation and consultation that included several discussions with McFarland Rowlands, CPA and CPAP transferred our program to a new broker, BMS Group. We did this in order to deliver a better program with enhanced coverage at a lower price to psychology practitioners. McFarland Rowlands did not offer any policy enhancements or premium reductions that, in our view, measured up to what BMS had proposed. As a result, we moved the policy to BMS, who provided a number of coverage enhancements and premium reductions for our June 2014 renewal. So what does this change in brokers mean for psychologists who've been insured for years under the CPA-CPAP sponsored programs? Well, it means a few things. The program that has insured psychology practitioners for decades is a group program that belongs to CPA and CPAP. It was our responsibility to oversee the program on behalf of our memberships. When it became clear that there were better options for the profession, we pursued them, which ultimately resulted in us moving the program to our new broker, BMS. With BMS, psychology practitioners have access to an insurance program that provides more coverage at a low but sustainable cost. The cost you will be paying this year is almost half what you paid last year, and for more and better coverage. Details about the program and how it compares to other programs can be accessed from CPA's homepage under CPA Bulletins, www.cpa.ca. The current broker of record for the program that has insured psychology for decades is BMS. This means that if a claim were brought against you today for an activity in the past while you were insured under the CPA-CPAP program, it would be managed by BMS, not McFarland Rowlands. This means that the only broker that can now renew your coverage in the CPA-CPAP program is BMS. The program that McFarland Rowlands is now offering with the Canadian Register of Health Service Psychologists was never offered to CPA and CPAP. It was developed only after McFarland Rowlands lost the CPA and CPAP liability insurance account. It is a new program with a new insurer sponsored by an organization that has never before offered insurance to its members. Once CPA and CPAP decided to move to BMS, but before we began accepting renewals, CPA contacted the Executive Director and President of CRISP, the Canadian Register of Health Service Psychologists. We explained the rationale and process of moving to BMS and conveyed that the better program and reduced premiums were clearly in the best interests of Canadian psychology practitioners, no matter which organization they decided to join. We did not offer CRISP a partnership in the policy for several reasons. First, activities such as continuing professional development and liability insurance have been core to the activities of the professional associations of psychology. CPA has long encouraged CRISP to take on the kind of credentialing activities congruent with its mandate, needed activities which other psychology organizations are not providing. An example would be specialty designation. Psychology is a small community. Having multiple organizations duplicate activity doesn't serve the profession or individual well. On the other hand, there are activities for which there may be a demand or need, like specialty designation, which CRISP would seem to be well positioned to meet. Second, including CRISP as a new partner in the liability insurance program could well pose a membership risk to CPA and to the provincial and territorial associations of psychology. The professional liability insurance program offered through BMS is a very important member benefit. To be successful in delivering high value and low sustainable premiums, it requires a critical mass of practitioner participation. This participation in turn allows CPA to grow its member benefits in the future. From convention to journals to accreditation to our representation of psychology on many science and practice alliances, CPA is truly the largest and most comprehensive of our national member organizations. Add to all these functions the very significant advocacy activity we undertake on a daily basis, in addition to the resource we extend to our provincial and territorial association partners through the funding of the Practice Directorate, and we believe that membership in CPA has a value add that extends far beyond any single benefit, such as the liability insurance program. However, we cannot offer this or any benefit without the membership support of the psychology community. Although we did not offer to include CRISP as a partner in the BMS brokered program, we did invite them to review the program and come back to us with ideas or feedback. They did not. The next communication we had from CRISP was the announcement of their new insurance program offering with McFarland Rowlands. And now a word about the BMS Group. BMS is the exclusive insurance broker for the CPA CPAP program. BMS, along with new program providers such as Gowlings, are experienced in professional liability insurance and legal defense. BMS Group is a specialist in providing sustainable member liability insurance programs to associations and represents many of Canada's largest health professions. BMS created a Health Professions Insurance Alliance, which enables us to move to a self-funded 4-member by member model next year, creating a resource for more program enhancements and reduced premiums over time. This is a trend increasingly common among health professions, and with BMS, Canadian Psychology has an option to participate in this kind of insurance opportunity. This will be another tremendous step forward for the profession as it relates to liability protection. In addition to the low but sustainable cost of the program, enrollment in the program is easier than ever before. You can easily enroll online or by calling their toll-free number. You simply go to www.psychology.bmsgroup.com or call 1-855-318-6038. BMS has also committed to offering members risk management education, which can enhance practice and reduce malpractice risk. This education will be available online and in person at the CPA convention. BMS and QBE Lloyd's of London, the insurer of our program, developed pricing for the program using actuarial analysis of a decade of profession-specific claims data. The premiums for the BMS brokered program are sustainable, but still significantly lower than those historically paid by the psychology community when the CPA CPAP program was brokered for decades by McFarland Rowlands. Further, the brokerage fee charged by BMS is just over half of what has been charged by McFarland Rowlands for many years. CPA CPAP and BMS are committed to providing psychology practitioners with the most comprehensive, sustainable coverage available. Thousands have already joined or renewed, and feedback about the service that BMS and our preferred legal provider, Gowlings, have provided to members thus far has been excellent. And now a reminder and an apology. First, the reminder. Had CPA not reviewed and revisited our long-standing liability insurance program and ultimately moved it to a new broker, Canada's psychologists would be renewing their certificates for the previous limited program at historically expensive premiums. It is because of the work that CPA did at considerable time and expense that practitioners are in the fortunate position this year of paying less for more when it comes to liability insurance. And for the apology, when CPA CPAP transferred the insurance program from McFarland Rowlands to BMS, we asked McFarland Rowlands in writing not to use any personal information they may have collected to administer the CPA CPAP programs for any other purpose. However, CPA members who were not members of CRISP received messages by email and surface mail from CRISP and McFarland Rowlands about their new program. CRISP opted not only to promote its new program to its own members, but with the coordinates provided by McFarland Rowlands, they reached out to members of the CPA and members of provincial and territorial associations as well. These mailings were not undertaken with CPA or CPAP's awareness or consent. In CPA's view, the CRISP and McFarland Rowlands messages created considerable confusion. Members did not fully realize that to renew coverage with the CPA CPAP-sponsored program, they needed to renew with BMS, not McFarland Rowlands. It is because of the confusion that CPA members had brought to head office and to BMS that we have now reached out to you by email, phone messages, and now this video message. So what do you need to do now? If you have joined or renewed with BMS, thank you. CPA and CPAP have done their homework. CPA is entirely confident that the BMS brokered program will bring the best value for money for Canada's psychology practitioners when it comes to liability insurance. If you are a licensed psychology practitioner or one in the process of obtaining licensure, or if you are a graduate student working under the supervision of a licensed psychologist or psychological associate, you are eligible to participate in the program. Further, if you are an academically affiliated psychologist engaged in or supervising an applied activity, you are eligible as well, as long as the activity or supervised activity is not one for which licensure would be required. Enrollment in the program is easy. Go to www.psychology.bmsgroup.com or call 1-855-318-0638. Again, we trust in your continued support of CPA and its liability insurance program. We hope to see you at convention next month in Vancouver and hope that you have a terrific summer. For more information on this or any other issue, give me a call or drop me an email anytime. 888-472-0657 or kcohen@cpa.ca. Thank you.